Now, the Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza says a wave of Israeli airstrikes on Tuesday killed more than 100 people. Israel launched the attacks after accusing Hamas of killing a soldier in violation of the US brokered ceasefire. The Israeli army said it struck 30 militant commanders but gave no details. Hospitals and rescue workers say women and children are amongst the dead. Meanwhile, Hamas has delayed handing over what it says were the remains of a deceased hostage due to the escalation. Israel says it's now resuming the truce, which President Trump has warned must not be jeopardised. Well, our correspondent Sebastian Usher in Jerusalem told us more about what preceded the Israeli strikes.
Well, what seems to have happened from the Israeli side is that they had an Israeli soldier killed down in Rafah in the south of Gaza, where soldiers are working on trying to destroy the tunnel network there. And yesterday afternoon, one of the soldiers who was involved in the excavation was killed. That was blamed on Hamas. Hamas has denied this. There are also anti-tank missiles fired at troops, according to the IDF. That on top of the issues over the return of the remaining bodies of dead Israeli hostages, which Israel very much believes Hamas is stringing out, but it's not being entirely honest about the whole process, led to an announcement by the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that he was ordering powerful strikes to be undertaken on Gaza. We then saw that across Gaza, not just in Gaza City, not just in the centre, but also in Khan Yunis, down in the south. And the casualty figures have been mounting through the night since then. The figure you quoted is from the Hamas-run health ministry and other sources there. We're still waiting to have full confirmation from hospitals of all the casualties.
Sebastian Usher there. Well, I'm joined now by Manny Fabian, military correspondent for the Times of Israel. Thanks very much for being with us. Do you think this ceasefire is going to hold? Is it under threat? Or are these the events of the last couple of days actually something that was expected?
I mean, the ceasefire is very fragile, but it is holding right now. It is these events that have been occurring, the killing of a soldier in Rafah. There was an incident just over a week ago as well, with 2 soldiers were killed in the same area, definitely testing Israel's patience. And if Israel had it its own way, I think it would have responded much more forcefully, even potentially resumed fighting in Gaza. But since this ceasefire has been sort of brokered by the US, the American administration is very much involved in the process. I think right now that's what's keeping Israel restrained and from further sort of responding or retaliating against Hamas.
And do you think that pressure on Israel will continue in the way that you describe?
I think so. I mean, we've seen Hamas sort of string out this process of releasing the bodies of the dead hostages. It still holds 13 in Gaza. It's supposed to sort of return them by now, and Israel has said that Hamas has the ability to, and it's dragging it out. But Israel is not sort of using all of its cards yet. It's not deciding to return to fighting as of now, mainly because first of all, it's interested in actually getting these bodies back, even if it takes Hamas a while to do so. But because of this American pressure, I think that will continue until Israel's patience runs out. If, for example, we see Hamas carry out some more brazen violation of the ceasefire, or even take responsibility for an attack on troops, then I think we would see Israel return to fighting. But as of now, we're not at that stage.
We are obviously seeing people express concern. Countries like Turkey, very critical of the Israeli action, and reports, as I said, of women and children amongst those who've been killed this week.
So, I mean, Israel has said that in these strikes overnight and this morning targeted Hamas commanders and commanders of other armed groups in Gaza and infrastructure. We are, of course, seeing the tolls from the hospitals in the Strip and from Hamas authorities that it's over 100 dead, and there are, of course, women and children among them. But as Israel said, since the beginning of the war, it only really intends to target Hamas, who's, of course, deeply embedded within the civilian population in the Strip.
Obviously, there's also the diplomatic pressure continuing to move on to phase 2. Where are we with that as far as you know?
Right now, I haven't really heard of any major progress being made toward that. We're just at this sort of stage right now where the IDF is still deployed to most of Gaza. It's holding 53% of the territory. And the next stage is supposed to see some sort of international force deploy in Gaza and Hamas disarm and then the army withdraw further. But I think that might be sort of quite distant at this point. It doesn't seem to be making as much progress as maybe the Americans thought. But right now, that's why Israel, again, is sort of maintaining the ceasefire despite the Hamas violations, despite the killing of the soldier, because the Americans, of course, want to see this deal go through all the way to the final phases that it had, of course, envisioned.
Mani Fabian, military correspondent for the Times of Israel. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.